Alright, welcome back. So it's been I don't know, it's been a couple days, weeks since I've made a video update. Been doing a lot of stuff on the sides and I just haven't felt like getting the camera out and videotaping it because I feel like it's really slow, monotonous stuff. But I'm just going to jump in right to it. So we got the scupper drain holes installed in the back of the transom. I went with a 2-inch hole, and I got these scupper flaps. Will be going in there. They got the little rubber thing. It's I didn't want to put these too low on the transom because I wanted them to be clearly above the water line. But with the angle of this transom and the angle of the inlet hole here, it puts it just level with the hole that I installed on the inside. So I'm gonna have to do some trial and error. I might have to get a neck down version of this. It's not so long. I cut a couple barbs off the end to try and get me more, I guess, downward flow, but we'll see how that goes. I don't know if I covered it or not, but we got the transom 99% fair and flat and as good as you're gonna get. So onto the inside, went and cut 3 holes in the back here. Those are going to just be access holes to get into the back wherever I got. I'm thinking about maybe putting in hydraulic steering, I don't know, but in the future if I want to do it, I can put it there, or any stuff I want to store back there. Cut those holes and got this top over there. It's already fiberglass on the bottom, layer 1708. I let it cure on the front, on the bow, so it's got a nice arch in it to match the arch of the transom. Just about. On the inside here, what I decided to do was put another piece of Kusa. This is just nautical 15. I glued it to the back of this, and that is for when I put the screws in it. I'm going to drill into here, and when I take the router and route over this edge here and round it, it's not going to hit the screw heads. And I'm doing the same back here. Instead of drilling into the transom, I'll be putting the screws in here and then glassing over the whole thing and attaching it to the transom. But I don't want to be putting screws in here because it's a very, very thin piece that overlaps it. As you can see here, cut a 1/4 of an inch out. I'm sorry, 1/2 inch, so there's only 1/4 of an inch that overlaps on the back there. So the drill, or the screw holes, will be going through this thick piece instead of this thin piece that overlaps the transom. Then I'll be coming back in with the router and curving that all up when I go to finally fiberglass it in. I'm gonna go ahead and I got all this stuff sanded out. It's ready to be put together now. I wanted to drill these holes before I put this lid on here just for ease of access so I can get inside there and whatnot. So I'm gonna go and put I think I need to put a couple more screws in this board here. Maybe not. No, is it good? Yeah. And then I'm just gonna mix up some thickened epoxy and push it down, or thickened resin, push it down on top of here to where that board will sit on top, and then I'm gonna screw it in and call it a day. Stuff is never gonna rot. It's never gonna go anywhere. It's gonna be fiberglassed in. It's just something to hold the curve while I'm glassing it in. And then we're gonna go and put this puzzle piece together that I have, and I'll walk through what I decided to do with this and put it together as well. So I'm gonna fast forward while I do some of this boring stuff and start putting her together. All right, we're all done with this part. This worked out pretty well. I've got a couple screw holes up in here. I got to fill and patch. I don't know if it's the right thing to do, but I've used this stuff just to kind of thicken up some resin. I ran out of my other stuff. This is what they had in stock. I know it's a low density. I'm going to use this on the back. Hopefully you can mix this up with the polyester resin. We're going to find out. I'm going to see what happens when this little experiment cup of it dries up, but I figured it's going to harden. It's got hardener in it, so what the heck, just try and put it in here. I did use some of the chop strand thickened resin in here as well to just kind of put some thickness on here, like where this board runs. As you can tell too, like I decided to put a little board in here. This was just moving a lot, and I wanted something other than this board that's screwed on top to provide just some strength in here, help keep it squared up. So that actually worked out really well. It's fiberglass on the bottom. I put some chop strand stuff on top of it, and she sits flush right with this board. Hopefully, I can't. Yeah, it's flush. It's pushing resin out of the sides, so she's gonna be stuck there. So I'm pleased with how everything turned out. I think this is gonna work well. I'm gonna let this sit up for a little bit, then I'm gonna get the router and route this end out, and we'll see how that turns out. Hopefully I don't botch this whole thing. Missed it, but we took the router over there and beveled this edge off, and I thought I was going to screw it up very, very good, but man, I'll tell you what, she came out nicely. I'm just going to sand it up with the old soft sander, get her nice and rounded, and then fill in this little gap here. But man, I tell you what, this thing saved a lot of time, and it's all even back here too. Cut it to the edge of the transom. There's a little gap in here I'm going to fill in with some more thickened resin, but overall, not bad. I am satisfied. So, it's enough fun with the power tools. I'm going to go and see if I can mix up some shit, squirt it in here, and fill these gaps. Alright, we got some of this low density fairing filler all mixed up. See if it freaking works. I'm going to put it on this radius here where I sanded it down to fill that gap. This stuff is going to be easy to sand, so I'm going to put a lot on there, fill these little gaps wherever there's just slight miscalculations, and hopefully she does a job on the front and the back, and I guess we'll find out tomorrow if it actually works. Alright, I'm gonna call it quits for there. Got that, like how I build fairing, wet system shit. Put it on all the gaps, curves. I'm gonna come back tomorrow. Hopefully this stuff sands well with polyester resin. I managed to get all this fairing. It worked well. It filled in all the cracks. The gap where that piece of Kusa was as well in the front. But I want to get glass on here. Tomorrow it's supposed to be really freaking cold, so I'm gonna put glass on here, turn the freaking heater on, get it hot as shit in here, and hopefully she'll cure. And then snow tomorrow. I'm gonna stop talking, put some glass on. Well, I'm glad that my fiberglassing skills aren't as bad as they have been. My track record wasn't too hot, but this turned out really nice. I'm surprised. We'll see how it looks in the morning. All right, well, I'm gonna call it quits for now. I'm gonna go mess around with this outboard motor cowling, try to get that sanded down and prepped, so that way the next warm day we have, we can get some paint on her. But what she looks like from the back, everything looks great. Hopefully we'll have some good results in the morning. Board looks nice and curved. Yeah, can't really complain. All right, this little glass job turned out nicely. I really can't complain about it. Got nice adhesion everywhere. These little screw holes I filled up with this putty, they went really flat, and got a couple little stringies poking out here. Overall, can't complain. Now, you know, I've decided to change direction. I'm no longer using these factory end caps that I had. I thought they were gonna make it work better, but after thinking about it more, one of you guys on YouTube actually mentioned that you're building all new pretty much washboards out of Coosa. I don't have time for that. That'll be maybe later down the road. But I just felt so bad putting this ugly piece of shit back onto this nice Coosa transom. So we're not doing that anymore. What I've decided to do, I'm just going to take this edge here, we're just going to blend it all together, and I'm going to try and match this side as best as possible to match this line here from this existing rail. It'll provide me a nice little gap for when I put the rub rail on it to seat underneath of it, because the rub rail that I'm getting, it's like an L, so it'll seat nicely. This Coosa is just a ripped down piece of a 3/4, and it matches the gap that's under here once I put glass on here. So we're gonna roll this edge together. I'm gonna get some more of this thickened resin, and we're gonna sneeze it all into here. Then we're gonna lay a first layer 1208 on here. We're gonna get some glass on here, fill in these gaps, and then see what she looks like tomorrow. All right, got that down. It went down pretty good. I'm satisfied. I'm gonna have to build this radius up here a little bit to match that side, just because when I cut this board back, I cut this one a little too far. So I think when I do that side over there, it's gonna be a little more rounded, but not worried about it. I can just put some more of this filler in there and get her nice and rounded. I'm gonna put some chop strain on here to get this started. And then the next layer I'll be progressively working up onto this existing gunnel, transom cap, whatever it's called. And then this side down here, it turned out really well too. I'm leaving a lot of resin in here just so it'll help cure it, because there's, you know, vertical surfaces here, and like this back piece where it overlapped. I just want to make sure there's enough resin and it'll bond together nicely, and there won't be any air bubbles or gaps or weak spots. So I'm gonna go ahead and tackle the other side. Hopefully it works out just as well, and we'll be back and check it out in a second. Well, that piece went down nicely. I was right, there is a little bit of a, I guess there's more of a curve over here. You can see it compared to the other side. But overall, I am satisfied. It looks like there's a little bit poking up here. If I can get you in the camera right there. A little bit's poking up. but I don't see any air bubbles in there, so I think we're good to go. Put some chop strain on the top here as well, and yeah, I'm satisfied. I can't really complain here. So we're gonna let this sit around. It's really cold outside right now. I don't think it's supposed to get any warmer until later in the week. This back here is still a little tacky, and I put this on 3 days ago, so I can't really complain for a little Sunday afternoon. Everything went down pretty well. We got some glass laid down on the transom here, or I guess this topper. I ended that last video filling in these gaps and stuff with the chop strand. I didn't have enough glass to stretch the entire length of this back piece, so I started like 2 inches down here, overlapped this, then went over into the back down there. For these corner pieces here, I just cut out some pieces that would overlap it down here on this piece that I put in here, and then it came down to right about the bottom of this cap, or whatever, gunwale, whatever this is called. A lot of angles to get in there, and I just didn't feel comfortable putting this in there and just like pulling it in all sorts of ways. So I'm just going to try and put that little square in there and finish that up. So I put this stuff I guess upside down, so you know, you have the woven on the bottom and then chop strand on the bottom, woven on the top. I've read online where some people were talking about putting that on the bottom, so that's what I did. In doing so, I didn't do it right, I guess, or I don't know, maybe I did do it right, but I had to sand the absolute mess out of this to get this flat and fair. I got to do a little bit of work back here to this side here. You can probably see where it just doesn't really blend in too well with this, and I mean I want it to taper back, you know, so it's not like fat and then narrow. It's a gradual taper, but I'm just going to plug a little bit of the fairing in here and then mold it how I need to. The same goes within here too. So we're gonna do that, hopefully get some fairing on here, make this thing look pretty, and I think it'll be ready for paint. Keyword think. I can't think of anything else that I need to do on the transom here. So yeah, things are shaping up. We're gonna get some acetone on here, clean it up, see what she looks like, and put some fairing on it. Hopefully I don't screw this fairing up. I'll just start by saying this Total Boat stuff is absolutely amazing. The Total Fair epoxy fairing compound. I just touched it up with a sander earlier. I put it on this morning, knocked it down, all the high spots once it got cured. I haven't touched this side yet, but I got this pretty fair. And then I came back and put a second coat on where there's some dead spots that I missed, or it just wasn't high enough. But man, this stuff is so easy to put on and so easy to sand. I should have just done this in the first place. I would have saved myself, oh wow, you're not even in the camera. I would have saved myself so much money. I still need to sand this side down. This is the fresh stuff. I put it on probably about 45 minutes ago, and it's already like fingernail. I mean, it's about 65 degrees out. So this stuff has been great. I'm really excited to see what it's going to look like up here, evening these lines out. I kind of just sneezed a lot onto this little end here of the washboard, I guess you could call it. There's gonna be lots sanded down a lot to get these grooves out. We'll see how well that goes, but yeah, no complaints whatsoever. This stuff has been great. I think I'm gonna end it here and stop talking. We're gonna come back in a couple days. I'm gonna be busy all weekend doing other stuff, but come back in a couple days. Maybe I'll come out tomorrow and sand this stuff down just so it doesn't harden up too bad. But I really want to get some paint on this transom here this coming week, so I can get this bracket mounted up once I put the motor back together, of course. But yeah, things are starting to come together finally. Things are starting to look good. Took a lot of time to sand this down and get this flat, but hey, you live and you learn, right? So anyways, if you need fairing shit, be sure to get this total boat. I got it on Amazon. It was fairly inexpensive considering the other Pro Set stuff I got was like $400 for the gallon kit, I guess. Completely wasted my money. That's what I use on the transom back here. I mean, it might hold up well. This has got a lot of dust on it. That's why it looks so bad. But yeah, that's all for today. Thanks for watching.